A growing number of private landholders in Tasmania have conservation covenants on their land. Often the covenant requires ecological burning to be conducted on the property in order to protect the natural values and maintain the regime of periodic burns to which flora and fauna have evolved. Ecological burning is the responsibility of the landholder, but advice and support are available. This program has been produced to offer an introduction. Robin Garnett and Phil Collier own a property in the northeast of Tasmania and wish to share what they've learned about ecological burning as a land management practice.
I'm Robin Garnett.
And I'm Phil Collier.
And this is our property, Rubicon Sanctuary. It's near Port Sorell and it has very special remnant coastal vegetation on it.
We've had this property for about 3 years, and over that time we've discovered an enormous number of plants and particularly orchids growing here. And the property is covenanted because of its special values. But one of the terms of the covenant is that we have to burn areas to bring forth the orchids and to look after the natural values of the property.
As the landholder, it's up to you to seek advice, but your covenant contacts at the Private Land Conservation Program in DPIPWE will put you in touch with the experts who can best advise you on the burn regime that suits the requirements of your vegetation.
When we first got the property, we weren't at all sure how to go about having an ecological burn. So we sought advice, and the message came through to us, don't do it yourself. You really do need expert help with this. The Tasmania Fire Service were extremely helpful, and they came and talked to us about it and actually agreed to conduct the burn for us on the day. We had to do some preparation before they could come, and this is what we originally did in our first ecological burns. We made fire breaks by slashing and raking so that the fuel level was low and it would act as a fire break. What we've done this year is to slash and then rake into the centre of this fire break, and then we've burnt all the debris down the middle. So we think it'll be a much stronger fire break to prevent the fire escaping into the area where we don't want it to go.
Dry eucalypt forests, heathland scrub, moorlands and native grasslands all require periodic burning at different intervals. The site characteristics, vegetation types and your available resources will determine the burning regime.
When seeking advice about burning on a property like ours, where there's different microhabitats as you look around, you have to be aware of what you're trying to burn and what your objectives of burning are. In our case, this marshland has got little orchids growing deep down in amongst all the other vegetation, and we really want to clear the vegetation completely with a burn, but at the same time not burn into the ground because it's peaty ground. Whereas in our drier woodlands elsewhere, we have the opposite problem. We don't want to burn into the crowns of the trees, and in fact setting fire to trees can be a real problem for the management. So we prefer there to burn on cooler, damper conditions. So you have to make decisions about the frequency, the intensity of the burn, the seasonality of the burn, for the particular circumstances of the property.
Each year we burn a portion of our property in a mosaic fashion. And some areas need burning more frequently than others. We've just prepared this area, this sedgeland, for burning, and if the weather conditions are right, we'll be burning it this week for the very first time. The fire service will come and light it up and patrol the edges to make sure there's a safe burn. But when they've finished, then they hand back responsibility to us. And it's up to us to patrol the edges, to watch the smouldering logs and to make sure that the area is safe into the future.
The expert advice you seek will also guide you on vegetation types that must not be burnt, which plants are sensitive to firefighting foams and how to avoid the nesting sites of fauna. Here Phil Collier has a case study example of the benefits of ecological burning.
Well, this is the Coccinea rugata story, or as we now know it, it's Coccinea rugata. This is a plant which is growing in this damp sedge land that we have here, that we burnt in 2007, not knowing this plant was here. Known only from about 42 specimens in Portland, Victoria, previous to us finding it on this property after our burn 4 years ago, has probably been in decline in Victoria because of lack of burning and lack of disturbance. What we've noted on our own property is that if the shrubs overtopping this plant, they start to go very leggy and start to die. So it appears that this plant needs regular disturbance, so it keeps out in the open, and it grows really well from its old rootstock after the burn. So there's no doubt that regular burning of this area is going to favour this plant, which is obviously very rare in Tasmania and Victoria.